Are live. Good evening, everybody.
Evening blessings and salutations.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Um,
I think Mr. Ori is stuck, maybe.
say it again.
I think Ori is maybe frozen on just a bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's frozen. Good evening, everyone who is logging on tonight and any other time to watch us. We are going to have several guests on with us tonight. So we want to thank you all for joining us to have this discussion. Good night, Nicole. Good night, Grantley. Who else? I don't have my thing. Okay, this is Corey. Nicole, Shay, okay. Imani. Good night, Kiora. Well, tonight we have with us, we have Lorna Miller, and her husband will be joining us shortly. And we also have Mr. Ian, I'm supposed to say Ori, who's joining us as well. A lot of times I have my family on here. This is Kiki's family tonight.
My nephew, my cousin.
Exactly. So tonight we are going to be discussing Black love, but before we start talking about that, we are just going to go around to Lucien and Pinky and Louie to ask them to highlight any posts that kind of stood out to you this week, again, whether it be in Love and Enlightenment or it be on another platform. So who wants to start? You want to start, Lucien?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
So I really like this post from Alice Victoria Henry. Tyler Perry said, let me just read it to you. Tyler Perry said, before you marry someone, you need to see them in all four seasons. When they're happy, mad, stable, broke, and been hurt. I felt that because sometimes we wonder why people change on us. And it's not really change, it's just who they are under certain conditions. I think that is so true. I mean, the thing about it is like, even some people don't even know who they are in those situations as well. We always know our regular self, but then once pressure is applied in some way, shape, or form, I mean, a transition takes place.
Sure.
Unless you have control of your emotion, you have the emotional intelligence. So I think that post it was very it was powerful.
I think the first time I heard that by oh gosh, the pastor in Atlanta. Now it's slipping my mind. Talk about that as well. And I also heard Pastor John Gray talk about that. And it's true. You really do need to see people in their different seasons. And I think initially when you get with someone, it's those endorphins and the lust and all that other stuff that you're looking at, and you think that's who the person really is until they have financial issues or health issues or all kind of stuff. And so, like you said, you think like, okay, who's this person all of a sudden? But that was the same person the whole time. You just didn't get time to show up.
Yeah, you haven't been introduced to the other personas yet.
Exactly. That's cool. Well, definitely anybody who was able to see that post or who has seen that post, if you want to comment, go right ahead. How about you, Mr. Janos?
Well, so I ain't gonna do the same one that we talked about. I'll let you run with that. But I was going through and I found one from Nicole. I know Nicole is on. Nicole, what's up? Shout out to Nicole Sayman. From Nicole, she posted, too many men, which got a lot of traffic. Too many men are used to seeing their mom do it all and think their woman should do it too, which we know that's been like that from the beginning of time. But it has a lot to do with, the environment that they've been brought up in, And I want to mention something about the article that you post. Also talk about a lot of single households, single parent or single mom households. That's not clearly that's not by choice. Most of the time, it's by circumstance. So, that definitely contributes to that. But I think what should happen, what we need to probably look at is trying to change that mindset. I mean, times are different. We have the information, and I think what will be ideal is if men collectively just try to change that whole narrative. I know it's difficult because of conditions and I guess because it's systemic oppression, but we need to take a hold and try to change things. Definitely.
I think that was Lorna. Lorna, you have posted that, wasn't it? You who posted?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you who posted that
I
post.
saw it. I saw it on Facebook, and I said, "Man, this is just ideal."
It says
Because
Nicole James shared a
Mhm.
post. Oh, so you did it initially?
No,
Yeah.
All
I
right.
didn't do it initially. I came across it, and then I
Your name, I
reposted
see
it.
your name on it.
It says
She
Nicole
probably
James.
shared it herself
Yeah,
too,
she
but
shared it. So both.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
and we talked
I,
about that a little while ago. You have a couple people sharing the same thing. Not gonna happen.
yeah.
yeah.
So I'll give you credit also.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
Yes,
it's a
indeedy.
narrative that we don't even realize that's being told, whether it's
Exactly.
consciously or subconsciously, that, the
Exactly.
Hmm.
struggle, like why we have to embrace struggle, period. You know what I'm saying?
That needs to change. Exactly.
And so
Hmm.
that narrative definitely needs to change, but definitely a good post. How about you, Pinky?
Um, Before I go, Lorna and Ori, you had anything? I like to go last. You got any posts? If you ain't have none, it's okay. It's okay if you don't have any.
Right.
Lorna, no?
Got
Okay.
No,
one.
I don't have any. I don't have
Okay.
any like that. It's just I have little quotes. Where it
It
says
don't it
love
don't have to be
all,
from the
trust
page.
few. Huh?
It don't have to be from the page. It could be from any page. It don't have to be
Okay.
from Love and Enlightenment.
Okay. In high school, with Shakespeare, quote, he said, "Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none." Okay, and that's pretty cute. Because some of us accept love the wrong way. We just accept it. We the love that we think we deserve, but some of us deserve more. You know, that's my little quote there for the day.
Okay.
That's interesting. Thank you
Yeah, yeah.
for that. What did Robert just said something? Most males and females use those that they are exposed to as the models that they like or don't aspire to
Exactly.
be like. It is based
Exactly,
on
Robert.
exactly.
Exactly, Robert. That's exactly
Yeah,
why I definitely picked that one. Agreed.
true.
Hmm.
Gina, you ready?
Yeah, I used the one that Halima had posted.
Mm,
Uh she posted a TikTok. Not that I use. I like that one. That
mm,
Halima had posted. It was a TikTok. And the guy was talking, when you first hear it, he was talking about um mothers being referred to as the both moms and dads. And he was in a conversation with someone, and he said most single moms have to fit in the role of being both moms and dads. And the person responded by saying, no, some yes, but sometimes they have to be just dads. And the guy was like, I don't understand what you mean by just dads. And then he was saying that a lot of times women have to stand in the role, and they stand in the role so long that they're never allowed to go back to their female self. They're not allowed to go back to their nurturing, loving self, because they have to stand in the role of being a provider and a protector. And they have to stand in that male energy so long that they have to be strong. Lucian had put a post up a couple of weeks ago that was talking about, somebody had post that if he is doing this, being the leader, the this, the that, then it's kind of the same principle. And that's why I had like with it. Today, we're so caught in with the Black female, we are being pushed into that male role so often that we can't come back to that soft feminine side because we're single moms, we're protectors of our family, we're the sole supporters of our family. So we have to be strong, and then we can be soft, gentle, and nurturing. People don't understand. It's very hard moving from one energy to the next all the time. You're in corporate America, you're the boss, you're the lady, you're this, you're strong, and you see this problem in marriages also when the woman have to stand up in these strong leadership roles, president of company. Not saying that it's wrong, and I'm not saying that, please, because sometimes things are getting topic. All I'm saying is that we have to understand that husband to wife, male to female, we have to be there for one another, and we fully have to stand in our roles to allow, because you have to have that balance of male and female. So I love that one by Halima.
When it's present.
Cool.
Hmm?
When you have male and female present. But go ahead, Debbie. Sorry.
The well,
good point, Vicky.
I like the post that I shared. I follow this pastor. She's out there. Her name is Jamila Gooden, and she had a conversation with her daughter who just graduated from college, and I guess is now starting to date. And it's a really, I like the video. Louis liked the video as well. It is a
Sure
little
did.
lengthy in the beginning. She, because I don't think it was something planned. It was just they were having a conversation in the kitchen, and then she thought like this would be something good to share. But in it, she's talking about, and these are conversations that we've had already. When you initially start to date, you should never, again, we talk about not having expectations, that it should be a fellowship, that you shouldn't even be having romantic dinners and experiences when you're just getting to know somebody, because that's when people really put their guards up. That it should be more fun, planned events. And again, it might sound, you have to listen to her, how she really breaks it down. I'm kind of summing it up. She talks about even the fact that when you start going out on dates, it should be Dutch. You take care of you, she take care of her. Because again, you're starting to already start expectations. And what if you don't even really like the person? Or what if you don't even really like the conversation? You don't want to call them back. Sometimes when you've allowed somebody to pay for your dinner, or go all out for this first, second date, then you feel an obligation to continue with something you're not really interested in. And it was the perspective that she gave that was so different that I never even really saw it that way. So her thing is, you fellowship with people when you're first getting to know people as a friend, instead of going into a relationship from the jump. Because even if you don't stay with your mouth, that's your intention sometimes. Mentally, that's what you're thinking about. So it was a really good video. So if anybody can get a chance that hasn't watched it, to watch it. I thought it was very interesting, and Louis did as well. Right?
I really
Yes.
like
Oh,
that.
yes.
I
Sorry,
like
go
that
ahead.
because growing like as an adult, since I mean, I didn't have any money as a kid, so I couldn't take nobody out on dates. But as an adult, now that I get to go out on dates, I don't go out to a restaurant first all the time. Like my first couple dates are probably gonna come across as lame, but it's to kind of get to know you. Like we will go bowling or go
She talked about that.
and do something that's gonna probably not bowling. Bowling's a little bit slow. In St. Croix, it's bowling, but in the States, you go to Dave and Buster's or something
She
and
talked
have
about
a couple
that.
drinks and just like relax. Don't there's no way you could love that person when you first met them. It's impossible. So I wouldn't go and like do some big romantic dinner right off rip. No, it's just kick it with them. Even if it's just the movies, nothing's wrong with the movies. I know everybody got Netflix, but
She said
I don't
not
always
even.
want to go to somebody's house on the first night.
Yeah, she said not even Netflix. It should be like you said, Dave and Buster's,
Yeah.
bowling, go play tennis. Just do some fun events that
Something
you do
active,
like with a friend, hanging out with a friend, versus doing something that has that intimate kind of setting, because it sets the mood for how you start to look at this person. And again, you're setting expectations, because this person might go all out, and then you leave that date thinking like, what? And then
Yeah.
a couple months down the road, you're like, what? So
It's like the
it
opening the
was
door
her
effect.
perspective was, yeah, it was very interesting, especially coming from a pastor, which, like I said, she's not the typical. But
It's
hearing her
similar to
have
like
that
the
conversation
opening
with
the
her daughter
door
was
effect.
interesting.
Ever since the first time you open the door for that woman, oh, you better believe every time you come to the car, open
You
the
better
door.
open that door.
Open the door in the grocery store. Open the door here. Because you did it that one time. You trying to be nice, trying to get to know her. Well, now you better keep
but
on
that's
doing that,
who
man. Don't loosen up.
but that's who you want to be anyway, right? All the time, a gentleman, right?
Me, it's weird. I like it doesn't have to be my girlfriend. I open the door for a guy. Like, I'll open the door for a random old person with a bad attitude. I'm just like that, I guess. You know, it's weird. When I'm walking into a place, I will stop and open the door. So when I do that in my personal life, say I was doing that and my girlfriend sitting in the car, and she eventually gonna be like, well, he opened the door for Bawana at Wendy's. Like, why he couldn't open the door for me to gain? No, I don't need
But
that. So I just, it's the opening the door effect. You gotta keep once you do something, you gotta keep doing it. So if you want her to believe that
But I mean, if
you,
that's who you are, that's who you
yeah,
are. But
yeah,
and
and if that's who you
but
are, that's
but
who you are.
but
But the
and
same
use
thing
my
with the open,
nephew and use my nephew and we raise. I know my sister and me.
yeah,
We raise you, Lorna. I know we raise our boys to be gentlemen. So
yes, of course. And but
Mhm.
that's why I say it's just the effect. Like if you so flip it, a restaurant. If you go to a
Mhm.
restaurant where the bill for two people is $500 the first time, okay, you better be ready to cough that $500. McDonald's is out of the question. Okay, Wendy's is out of the question, people.
for
Okay,
look,
sure.
nephew, McDonald's is out of the question, and so is Wendy's. Okay, let me just.
hey, my first date with my current girlfriend, I was in Texas and we shared what the
Yeah, but
damn
you
value
were
meal
in
was.
college. That's okay.
I wasn't in college. I was a grown man. I was just broke. I was just broke. I didn't have no ends. What
Okay,
no ends, what no beginnings. I was broke. And she
okay, that's
went, gave me
understandable.
a
That's
ride to
understandable.
Wendy's,
That's
and we shared a
understandable.
meal.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
And look, it's still going on. So that's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
okay.
I told
Mhm.
Well,
you from jump.
we will, again, those were just posts that stood out to us. And if anybody had posts, somebody just said, "What's wrong with Wendy's?" Oh,
That's a friend of ours. Hey, nothing wrong with Wendy's. Wendy's is perfectly fine, depending on how old you is and what parts of life you're in. Wendy's
Hey,
is
Auntie,
perfectly
you
fine.
don't live in
My
St.
first
Croix.
date
You
could
don't
be
know
to
about that
Wendy's.
Wendy's drive-through
I
line.
don't care.
You
Yeah,
don't know
no,
about a
I
Wendy's
joking.
drive-through line in St. Croix. If you stop into Wendy's in St. Croix, that is love. That thing's a
for
2-hour
real,
wait. You hear me? That is
for
love.
real.
Mhm.
That line is no joke. I saw it when I was home. Um,
I gonna choose the part of peace this good night. Wendy's is a perfectly fine place to take your first date. I say if that's who you want to take them, more power to you.
Speak for yourself.
Mhm.
she facetious, but
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just saying for everybody else, not
Yeah,
for me. That's why I
yeah.
saying. What do whatever I want.
Well, okay. So we are now going to go segue into our conversation. We keep hearing the term Black love, and it encompasses so much. But it's interesting that when you speak to people, everybody has a different perception of what they think Black love means. And so we kind of wanted to discuss it. What shaped Black love? Where does this term come from? When you hear it, what does it evoke? What emotions does it evoke in you? So we'll start with you, Mr. Lucien. First time you heard Black love, or when you hear Black love, what does that term mean to you? Um, I don't know if I think she'll be okay if I say this, but we had like a back conversation, and it was interesting that for the person, okay, I won't call name, the person that was on that bad conversation, when she hears the term black love, negative terms came to her. So again, that was her experience. And so I'll segue into you, Lucian.
Um, I think when I hear black love, I see like these images of like, with the big afro, and like I would say more of like it's more of a timestamp to me, like in the 70s, like this love movement and stuff like that. I think it's more of a stateside thing too. I just don't see like Caribbean people saying black love, but I see that as more of a stateside thing. I'm just telling you about the imagery I get when I say the word or whatever. I also think that it shouldn't be color coordinated. I mean, it should just be love. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be black love because love is love. I don't think it has a color. But I understand the premise behind it, as in showing each other love. But I think that black love today is just so like it's so misconstrued. You know what I'm saying? Is what people like assume it's supposed to be, but not what it truly is. You know. I
Um,
think. Go ahead.
let me interject. Someone just posted and said, "Black love to me is a black man and a black woman in a positive relationship."
Thank you,
Yes,
Don.
So go ahead.
I would say that. But I just think that just the way how we perceive it, it's just like like this is how it's supposed to be. This is how like when you see like these things, I love my woman so much. I just give her my credit card and go and spend it up and do your thing, baby, because I'm gonna get her nails done. And this is the perception that they give us, like what black love is supposed to be. Then the guy, it's always about like what the guy is doing, what the guy is doing. You know what I'm saying? But we're not looking at the female aspect of what she's supposed to be doing as well. So the perception that I've seen like is more of a one-sided thing.
Okay. Lorna.
To me, when black love is really broad. You know what I mean? My concept of black love is seeing two black folks together, in love. To me, that's sexy. You know, it has a lot also to do with how both parties were raised in the household. All of that stemmed from, that all of that creates a successful, if you're going to be successful in your relationship. Because if you grow up in a household with torment and name it, all kind of negative stuff, you can't really find true love, not unless you're willing to change. But I think black love is sexy, where a black man and a black woman who love each other, they respect each other, they have compassion, they're aligned together, and they show that love. I have a couple that I know, and they really inspire me because they talk. It's to me, it's true love. When I see them, I see true love, and they're black couples. And how they were raised, when you talk to them and they said, the guy would say, "Oh my, I saw my dad did this with my mom." And the same thing with the female. She said she saw her mom, loving on her dad, and that's what she's exhibiting right now. And to me, that is real sexy, but it all stems from how your household, and if you're willing to change. That's black love to me is just sexy.
That's good.
Oh,
On YouTube, Halima, this was Halima's definition. She said, "I think the phrase black love is used to represent positive black relationships to combat the toxic black love portrayed in the media."
and I'm
Right.
glad that I'm glad that she said that. Just to interject for a second, because what I was talking about was the toxic black love that people are portraying. So let me just put that out there. So that's what I was referring to.
True.
The like the misconception of how it's supposed to be.
Right.
That's the toxic. So she said it exactly how I was thinking it. You know what I'm saying? Because just the way how it's being perceived, but not how it truly is.
It
Like when
truly is.
Lorna was just like when Lorna was just saying like you're looking at people, you're seeing how they treat each other and with this love and compassion. Yes, I can see it like that. But once again, the way that I was speaking about it was what Halima was saying, as in pertaining to like the negative, toxic, how it's supposed to be, but it's not truly how it is. And then when people don't see it in that light, then they think that it's not love. You know what I'm saying? And that's horrible.
Right. Um,
Mm-hmm. But
I
you
also
also have to understand the historic perspective of it also.
Yeah,
You know, the
definitely.
other side would perceive like black men are horrible. They, you know what I mean? This from a historical perspective. They did all kind of stuff to a black man, you know what I mean? And our black man has this like this negative connotation on them. If you see a black man coming down the street, you know, they will normally take the other side of the road when this black guy is just like you know. So you know, you got to factor in his from the historical perspective. It was a negative connotation when it comes to black men. It's just like said they said black men don't take care of their children. That's not true. You're not giving them an opportunity to do so because they're either in prison. um you drive them out the house. The mom is a single mom. She has to depend on the government. She can't move the man in the house because if the guy is in the house, the government is gonna charge her for misrepresentation. Okay, so yeah, I have to look at that also on a historical perspective, where from history coming down, the stigma on black men is always negative, you know, but we can change that.
True. I there was a comment here that said, I think the term Black love has been coined because kind of goes along with Halima, because in most media, print, and video, stories depicting that are few and far between. However, we are bombarded with a myriad of negative images of Black men and women in relationships. Um,
Exactly.
And
Society
I'm
wants the world to believe that Black men and women are adversaries and can't get along.
and that's very true what Lorna was saying too, because it also has the whole historical fact, based off of slavery and years of trauma. You know what I'm saying? So in some cases, like
Exactly.
like the negative side of it, then is what well, now I can make money. Let me just share it out to you, and it's just like a anyway. But the toxic side is yeah.
True. Shemet also put Black love extends past an intimate partner relationship to wanting to see our community thrive, supporting our businesses and
Exactly.
artists, nurturing our children, etc. So it's a even much bigger thing than that. But before we go,
Hmm.
what was your take when you heard Black love?
Oh, yeah, and also me.
Oh, PP, sorry.
Uh, well, I look at it differently.
She don't want to last.
I look at it differently because my position on this is we do have problems within our Black community that we need to address. If we don't address our problems, we don't empower ourselves. I believe in self-empowerment. I believe in empowerment. Self-empowerment is just kind of, redundant. But we have to understand that we have to fix our own problems. We know that, yes, slavery had a part in it. Yes, government and systems have a part in it because they were a breakdown to the family structure. The family
Hmm.
structure to me is the basis of everything. Once we could
Hmm.
heal the family, we could heal the community, like Shemet says. And when we heal a community, we heal our island, we heal our state, we heal our world. It starts with the foundation of the relationship. But that even goes deeper because it starts with the individual. So if we're bringing, like Lorna says, if we are bringing broken relationship, broken selves into broken relationships, we will have broken relationships. Then we'll have generation of broken relationships that will follow. Now we know this is a fact. How we know this is a fact? Not what is being portrayed out by media, because we have to be careful what's portrayed outside by media. Let's just look in our communities. Our community is a microcosm of the whole world or the whole island. Let's just start right there in that little place. We know that there is black on black crime. This is a problem. We have to fix this. How do we fix it? We right now we can look at the statistics. Nikki sent us a thing about 71% of black females, 71. I sent Nikki that statistics change, it's now 72. 72% of women are single moms raising sons and daughters alone. This is a breakdown to our family structure. That's just what it is.
But Trina,
Yes, we have people. Yes, we have people that's on the system, and I'm not denying that the government, again, or systems are a part of the problem. But I am for empowerment. So I said, yes, we know slavery. In slavery, our relationships was broken apart. They were separated. Wives couldn't lead on husbands, and husband couldn't lead on wives. It started right there. But then it continued on. We think that that's not a part of our problem today. It fully is. How do we fix it? We fix it by fixing ourselves. We have a breakdown in spirituality today in the world. We are looking towards the wall to bring us answers. The wall cannot bring us answers. We have to dig deep within, and we have to become one with God and find out what the true answers is to solve our problems. The government is not going to solve our problem for us. A matter of fact, they're going to make the problems even worse. Sorry for saying it. We have to become conscious. We have to become aware of what is going on within our community, with what's going on with our daughters and with our sons. I have 2 daughters and I have 2 sons. If we're not careful of how we raise our daughters and sons, start right there in the household, like Lorna said, becoming conscious. So for me and Vincent, we came from both single households, and that had an effect on our marriage, no doubt about it. And we had to work very hard to overcome a lot of things to break some generational curses. And we're not blaming the generation before, because the generation before did their absolute best with what they know. But we could only start with what we know and go forward. We have too much problems that we have to look at, and we have to help one another and support one another on this journey, both male and females. That's just my perspective.
Okay.
True.
How about you, Ori? When you hear the term black love, what does it mean to you? Or what does it mean to you?
To me, when I think of the term black love, it is a lot broader term than just a race or even a color. To me, I feel like as simple as it gets, black love comes in as many different forms as we as a people come in shades. Like black love to me is an understanding within our race. Like it's like something that we can relate to. For me, the black love that I've received from my mother is just knowing, or just knowing that, like, when she sent me up to Texas, like, I knew no matter what, even if my mom didn't have it financially, or didn't have it in time, because she couldn't come up to Texas to see me or whatever it was, she still had my back in a way that there's no woman, not even a girlfriend, someday wife, can know and understand, because that's my mom. Instilling certain stuff in me was her way of showing me black love, showing me how to treat a black woman, showing me how to care for my fellow brothers and sisters out there in the world. And then from my father, his form of black love, my father, I'm not a kid that grew up with a dad that didn't hug him and stuff like that. My dad did those things, But what I feel like my father showing his shade, if you will, of black love was teaching me the hustle. Um, with anything I do, just to push myself to always make sure, me and mine is at least still good. Cause my dad, we have a lot in common. Like I dropped out of college. I decided to hit the workforce. And when I did that, I kind of, I had a couple bad paying jobs, but I knew if I stuck with this craft, eventually it'll pay off. It turned into me just bouncing around to a couple crafts, which made me a better overall craftsman. And now I'm just an electrician. But the hustle mentality of learning whatever, anything, I didn't care, even if it was plumbing. And I hate plumbing because you literally have to deal with other people's shit. Like, I just took up everything, and I really feel like it's my dad that put that in me. And when I got to electrical, my father's an electrician. My father never once made me go on an electrical job with him. Never once. He's an electrician, had position, had little company, like everything. He's done a lot in his electrical career. And my dad never, like a lot of electricians' sons, tried to beat me in the head with, the code book, basically. I just saw the love he had for it. I saw how his eyes would light up if he came home from work and he's like, we switched out a transformer today or a LI switch. Back then, I didn't know what it was, but now, because I have the same infectious love for the craft, I know a lot of the things he may have had to deal with back then. It's just, black love it's a lot. It's not something that you could just. So what do you think? Like it's you can go in depth and you can take it to even different relationships you may have. My girlfriend is black. I've been in the States, not dating this particular woman, but when I was in Texas, I had a girlfriend that I went out to get some. I think it was like, I don't know, maybe like some Swisher Sweets and some soda or something that I didn't need to leave the house for. Okay? And I didn't come back home. I went to jail.
You lucky your auntie ain't done this. She said get to the point.
I went to jail. I went smooth to jail and she searched everywhere. She trying to figure out what's going on and just talking on the phone with me through the night because I didn't tell my parents what happened. As far as my parents know, they think I only went once. But just that alone, her talking on the phone with me on this roachy phone, okay, when she got to go to class tomorrow, that is something that just I felt a little like if it was another shade of black love, if you will. Just knowing that, yeah, I'm somebody that has to deal with this because I fit a certain description sometimes, but you cool with it. You know what I have to go through, but you still here.
That actually in one of the articles that I posted today, one Nikki had I shared that one. Nikki had shared it with us. That's Pinky's twin. And then I also shared one, an article talking about, it was like an interview of 4 couples. One that was married for 41 years, one that was 20, one that was 4 years, and I think the other one was 6 months. And when they hear the term black love, what it meant to them. And one of them, I can't remember which couple it was, talked about the fact that they could come home and they share, each person can understand their plight in the workforce or just, in everyday. And for them, that's what black love, they said black love is a reminder that you have a safe place to land and someone else in the life to accept you exactly as you are. But it was pretty interesting. That was an article that I had put in there today. For me, initially,
Debbie, let me just add this one thing. Sorry, I forget to say it. And Dee was the one who said it to me. She said, and I wanted to quote her. I promised her I would quote her on it. She said what black love meant to her was the bonding, and the understanding and the respecting and loving each other based on their suffering as a race. So you understand, you love, and you have compassion for your partner. You have compassion for the black man, knowing where his struggles is, and he have compassion for the woman, knowing what her struggle is. Because it's not about his struggle, or it's not about the black man's struggle only, or the white or the black woman. This is not about black or what. It's not about black or white, nor is it about
Right.
man or woman. It is
It's the shade of
understanding that we are all suffering. Because when the family suffer, if the husband suffer, the wife gonna suffer, and if the wife suffer, the husband gonna suffer, and then the children them gonna suffer.
Yeah.
It's so we have to just get to that place where we come to a place and understand that we are struggling as a black family because of the stuff we've had to endure and the stuff that was thrown upon us, and we
Right.
have to wake up. That's my final take. But Debbie, that's you. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say that, to me, when I heard or when I've heard, because I've seen shows where they, I think it was OWN or BET, one of them had like a series talking to various couples talking about black love, and I think it was coined black love. And for me, again, like Robert was saying and someone else was saying, that it really is about what you experienced, whether what you saw in your household or what you saw with other people. I mean, I was fortunate that although my parents were divorced when I was, I think, 7, we still had other family members that had really good relationships. My aunt and my uncle, several aunts and uncles, and just other family members. So for me, thankfully, I was surrounded by various aspects. So it doesn't, I don't take it as a negative, because I just been able to see the good, the bad, the ugly, and I've seen it. I went to school, private school, so I went to school with many races, and it didn't seem any different to me what I saw in my family and close friends versus what I saw with them. So I'm glad that it doesn't mean something negative for me. I know there's a struggle. And again, it's just like I talk about the conversation, it's the directive and what you speak. To me, if I keep talking about the negative, that's what's gonna be there, But if we start to change the directive of the conversation and in our communities and continue, consciously uplift, and again, we're already at this stage, but I'm talking about when I'm talking to my kids and their friends, we have to change the directive regardless of what's being put on print media and everything else. But for me, it's not a negative connotation.
Oh, brother Q.
Indeed, what you're saying.
Adea, cousin Adea. I want to hear your perspective. I'm dying to hear it.
I just come after Zoom meeting there, so you gotta fill me in.
We're going around just asking everyone to give a perspective on when they hear the term Black love, what does it mean? Or what has it meant to you?
What has it meant to me?
Black love.
Oh, okay, I need my own phone.
Because we can't see you, come down, sir. I want to see you.
I'm trying to get my own. How I go get on my phone?
Lorna, I'm going to help you with that. Lorna, I'll help you.
Maybe you have to send him the link.
Yeah, you want to come out and then I'll send.
I could move over here.
Okay.
Debbie, mute.
Debbie, you realize I didn't go yet, right?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't go yet?
Yeah,
Okay, we will save you for last.
You actually say you wanted to go last. You remember, Janos?
I didn't say that. I said Pink.
I
said you gonna let Pinky go last. It's a surprising Pinky went, but that's okay. I'll go last. It's not a big deal. Ain't much I could say,
This is my cousin, guys. This is brother Q. He's known as brother Q.
Okay,
but I didn't realize his name.
Die my bed, but he could have got before me and look like he
No, please, you the guest, man. You go right ahead, please, by all means. Thank you. I appreciate
okay,
that.
What it mean to me, Black love? Well, first of all, I think Black people are the best looking people in the world. They are the best at whatever we do. And when it comes to love
It's
it's a whole heap of the love is based on a root of family and the family foundation. So when you're talking about black love, is establishing the family network, that family tree, bringing in the next generation, teaching them pride, teaching them a self of a self pride, and the pride in the male, the female, and the children and the family, and not only that, that carry out into our society. So black love ain't just between two individuals; it is also included in the children, and eventually spills out into the society.
Correct. Cool.
Mean if to answer the question.
Yeah. I
Yes,
mean,
you did.
it's
Yes,
the
you
It's
did.
your
personal
it's your opinion. It's definitely your
opinion.
perspective and how you see it.
Yeah,
How about you, Louis?
I got to take out my glasses. I can't see.
Yeah, ain't much I can say because pretty much a lot of the stuff that I was gonna say was said. You actually mentioned the article that Nikki. Shout out to Nikki. What's up, Nikki? That she put on that. I think you posted it. The
Yeah.
article with regards to from the Washington Post. It's a good article. But when we first talked about this, when we as a group behind the scenes and we say no, let's talk about black love. Of course, the first thing that came to my mind was like, this what's the idea of black love? Because love is universal in my mind. Love has no boundaries. You have other ethnicities because what happened to Hispanic, Asians, everyone loves. In my mind, this is how I see it. We all feel pain. We're humans. We all feel pain. Whether it's the same thing with the family foundation, we have that disparity. Again, they feel that same pain. The other thing is, after reading the article, of course, it talks about the oppression, 400 years of enslavement, and of course, moving forward to modern day, systemic enslavement, different things of that, the breaking up of the black family, the black foundation, all of that, and I respect that. And again, I try to tie it into my idea when I first heard black love, because again, in my mind, loving and love is boundless. You could also look at Native Americans were oppressed. The Caribbean islands, the Indians that were here, the Taino, the Arabs, they were oppressed people too. You look at it as them having experienced themselves and them being ripped apart, those families being ripped apart again at the early colonizational time. You understand? So my perception, of course, or the idea and of black love came about because of you know again the breaking up of that nucleus of the black family. But other ethnicities experience that as well. So for me, love is boundless, like I said. Black love, I love. We talked about this before in the last show about type. Love black women. I'm a product of a Hispanic and a black household. So and I've had both parents are still together, 56 years strong. Shout out to them. So yes, I understand the history about the idea of black love and what it represents and what it means. But I'm only saying that there's others out there as well that
Sure.
experience it as well.
True.
It's
But I
my
mean,
take
a
on
lot of
that.
times we talk about the black and brown communities, so that
Exactly. So and
incorporates
that's our
everybody's
platform. We're
struggle.
about both. Pardon me?
No, I'm saying everybody's struggle has definitely been different. And again, it's also in location as well, because I think, although in the Caribbean we are affected by it, I think that we have different challenges that
Mm-hmm.
um, individuals on the mainland don't have or have as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's a uniqueness to it. And then I think our culture is so diverse as
It
well
is. It is.
in the Virgin Islands.
But black
So,
people have endured a lot. The transatlantic slave trade, coming across that in itself speaks volumes. And then, of course, them, they say, Plymouth Rock, they didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us because Native Americans, we were here. They were there. You feel me? So it's not like, something, that's just came about. There's been a lot of old world terrorism that from tore apart families from back then, and it's just transcended through generations and through time to present day.
Right. But the thing is, we have to, I'm always about, yeah, we know what the issues are. And some things we don't have any control over. Unfortunately, the things that we do have control over, we really have to work harder.
Most definitely, we're at a, you see, we're at a place in time because of advancement in technologies and knowledge and history to change that narrative.
True.
We,
It's like
we have the information, we have the tools, we have the ability to change that.
True. And the good thing is that social media, although it does show so much negativity, it has, to me, increased, we've allowed it to be able to show the positives in the Black relationship.
Right.
I don't remember, I think it was Halima, I'm not sure, who had put a post of this couple. They were like in the shower and washing each other's hair or something like that. This was like a couple weeks ago.
That was dope.
And
That was dope.
that was nice. But yeah, we can change the narrative.
Yeah,
Not
Lucian was
just
wishing that he
not
still
just
had hair.
on, through social media, but I mean, just in our everyday lives, what we're saying, what we're doing, how we're acting, just, taking ownership. If, like Halima said, if you're not ready to be in a relationship, don't be in a relationship. Work on you.
Right.
Don't
Right.
perpetuate the problems,
And come with your results when you step into Halima. I believe that.
True. Let me tell you what my personal definition, Robert, of, because he's asking a question, please explain Black and brown. I just think that brown encompasses even more, because to me, when you hear Black, even though our Blackness is all shades. Sometimes I just think, because of the world that we live in, sometimes when you say Black, it kind of seems like we're only talking necessarily about one type or one color. And so that's where that narrative, Black and brown, to encompass so much more. Because at the end of the day, I mean, like my foster son, his mother is white, his father is African. When he gets older, he is going to be a Black man. He just has a high hue, but so that's what that term means to me. What else is he saying? Okay, let me read. Okay,
I like Imani's comment because her and her baby daddy is not together.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they approach, Debbie, you could go ahead and read it. I didn't read it. And I was just saying the way they approach parenting, mm-hmm. by loving their child, even though they're separated, live in separate households, the way they love and they care for their daughter it's beautiful.
It's as a unit.
Huh?
As a unit.
As a unit.
And that's the key. That's the key to these single households. I mean, these single parenting, situations that we have. Co-parenting is so important. We've talked about this before also. Fathers need to definitely be involved in their children's lives. I mean, not just from a financial standpoint, but emotional as well. We talked about it, that I talk to my kids every day. And I tell my kids every day before we get off the phone, I love you. And it's the same response. Do it with my parents also every day. I love you. I mean, and not just to say it, but to mean it. And it because I try to, show them how to be affectionate, how to be emotional people. You know what I mean? Because you got to do, I believe in doing all things with love. I know you guys know how I move already, so I believe in that.
We can't control. Like I said, the reason I appreciate her putting that comment in there is because every relationship isn't going to last. Daryl, I wanted to ask you and Lorna, your perspective on what is the cause of the problem of the breakdown of relationship, our Black relationships. But everybody ain't gonna stay together. But it's how we approach the situation, right? It's how we stand up, it's how we care for one another, how we care for our children.
Right.
You know,
And so,
things that happen, and everybody's not meant to be together forever. You know, but Daryl and Lorna, I would
That's
like
true.
to ask you, where do you think this problem started?
With the with what, the breakdown of the family.
Mhm.
Well, really and truly, the breakdown of the family start with their family. Coming out of my household, I might see something. Coming out of Daryl's household, he might raise a certain way than from how I was raised. Okay, and how my parents them show love. You understand? His parents, in the Caribbean per se, you know, um, to me, the love is different. You understand?
Expound on that, because we were
Um,
talking about that the other day.
okay, what I mean is,
before you
right?
start, let me just ask a
Go
question.
ahead.
You got 6-digit code, Pinky, for this?
Me, no, you got
No?
Debbie.
Oh, no, okay. Just because I was trying to get on my phone so that we don't got to share the phone like that.
Oh,
Okay.
It
All
should be
right.
the same link that I sent to her.
Huh?
It should be the same link that I
It's
sent
the
to.
same link.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, you know what I mean. In the Caribbean household, I have two brothers, right? We did everything just alike in the house. I clean the toilet, they clean the toilet. They make up the bed, I make up the bed. They learn how to cook, I learn how to cook, right? In some other household, when you meet your other half, he wants you to do everything. Okay? It's like some of these men, mom, okay? um Teach them something different, like the boy, only thing the boys should do is cut the grass, nothing else. Okay, so when they come into your life, it makes it kind of difficult. We don't work as a team because their ideology of what a man's supposed to, the woman's supposed, he's supposed to be the king for us. We're supposed to cater to all of his needs. But when our needs need to be catered to, where is that? You understand? We have the children, then we're focusing on the children. You understand? And we have to focus on the husband too. But who focus on the wife? You
But what?
understand?
Okay, but let me ask you a question.
Mhm.
So, kind of like segueing a little bit with what Louis was saying. So,
Uh-huh.
what makes it different in the Black relationship versus other races, other cultures? Because they experience that same thing. Because, and the reason why I'm asking that question is because there was a point in time when I heard Black love, and I'm like, is other than the fact that we have a struggle that has carried us through for so many years, what really makes us, and again, the outside things that affect us, but in the household and the decisions that we make in the household, what really makes our love any different
And
than
to
race?
add to that, because sorry, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Debbie.
No,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Go
Well,
ahead.
only to add to that, because you have other ethnic groups that are stricken by poverty as well, and have the same outcomes and circumstances. So that's just to add to what Debbie is saying.
but the difference is in our culture we had racism. Well, I mean, not racism. We had slavery, and slavery was designed to break up the family. We just gotta
Exactly.
accept that.
We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. The difference is the black man is oppressed, right? That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
The black woman, she
They
has
have
no
it even
support
worse.
system, like Lorna says, because of the system. We have to realize that there is a system that is trying, that not is trying, that has destroyed our families over hundreds and hundreds of years. That
Mm-hmm.
is the difference.
Yeah. And it's
That's
still
what makes the difference between, and we do see the effects now. So what is the cause and what is the effect? The effect was what we suffered hundreds of years ago, but we still seeing the effects today. That's the difference.
mm-hmm. Yep, it's still happening.
We have a breakdown with education in our system. It's just there.
If
Our black men are not
Plus,
educated the same like their white counterparts. It's just a fact.
plus we got
The
to
school
add.
systems are not the same. When I left St. Croix, and I don't want to get ridiculed, I wanted my children them to go public school. I decided to move my children into a white neighborhood so they could be in a suburban area where they could get a fine education in white America, because I know that was their chances of getting an excellent education. How I knew that? That's how Vincent was educated. Vincent was taken out of the inner city of New York, poverty-stricken New York City, and sent to the suburbs of Pennsylvania to be educated in a program that was called the ABC program, A Better Chance for College, because they knew if he had been removed from his environment and sent to another environment, he had a better chance of college.
Mhm.
This is just what's going on.
So
Exactly.
so
We just
those
have to
those are
accept
those
it.
which is to actually to touch on you on what you said, Pinky, which is those programs are definitely there, and I'm saying that
The
because
website.
those
So we're
opportunities
the
have been
thing
presented
we're
for
missing.
people, that have been, I guess, systemic oppressed or form of systemic oppression to become better individuals. So I guess what I'm saying is in agreement to, you know, you're having the opportunity. Other families, and I guess, can get those opportunities as well, um, to have a better chance of life, a better chance of living. And that goes back to us now talking about changing the circumstances,
Okay,
having
but
the
here,
ability to
and
change.
that's true. That's true. Let
Well,
me read this. Black Love, Marilyn said, Black love is not dating a black man or woman. It is deeper. It is embracing our culture and our origin. What makes it work spiritually compatible and respect for each other. And it's true. Again, I'm only saying this, going to this because time is of the essence. But
Yeah,
we
this is a
know what
very broad topic.
it is, a broad topic, and we know all the
and,
things. My thing
and,
is always, what are we doing to embrace it and to better it within our
and
lives?
another thing I didn't hear you guys mention, and maybe if you mention it, you could just tell me you did.
Hmm.
When it comes to black love, the glue it ain't necessarily, and you got a factor of what your parents and your family teach you and all of that, what history has dealt to you. But then you also have, in when it comes to black love, the fact that you have a creator and you deal with a religious foundation. That without that religious foundation in the family, the love cannot develop or manifest itself in the rightness it's supposed to manifest without that family grounded in a creator or faith based situation, and what the enemy, the white supremacists, them are trying to do is confuse us and mix us up as to exactly what the family is when they're promoting, and I don't get vexed with me, homosexuality and all them thing there that they're trying to say is one way or what we should accept when the creator clearly speaks on that. And when you're talking about black love, um, how can we say we love if we don't first love the creator and translate that love into the individual, the male and the female, as well as the children and the family structure?
Right. That's I guess from a spiritual standpoint as well, definitely, and that's basic. But let me ask a question. So we have all this information, and we know we have an idea of what the issues are. What are we doing to change that? What are we doing to change that way, or that way of thinking, that way of living, that life? That how do we do that in today's time?
Wait one second
Granted,
I
before you
think
said that, Louis. Ori was saying something. Go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ori.
Go
that
ahead.
over time everything has been changing, and it will eventually change. I think one time I was reading somewhere in like when I was in high school that um the same amount of time it takes to kind of mess up something is about the same amount of time it's going to take to rebound
Fix it.
from it.
Right.
You know, so 400 years, in some places longer, of slavery, it's going to take just as long to kind of level out. I don't think it's going to take us that long. I think that we're bouncing back more. Over the years, you have seen more black men go to college and graduate.
Right. Right.
You see, I know more of my friends that have kids have a really great relationship with the baby mother, or they're actually with the woman. The ones that don't, it's nonsense on both sides to me. So I think over time we are gonna eventually kind of level off, if you will. It's just gonna take a little bit more time. It's gonna take more of those guys going to college and relationships last.
Well, piggybacking on what Ori said, I think the main part is to have a sense of awareness that the issue exists. I think by having these kind of conversations and bringing, bringing to light the issues, then people could actually sit back and be like, okay, well, you know what? I never looked at it that way. Like, and the same thing too is like with Louis and is a transition. Like his father treated him a certain way, he's treating his son a certain way, and instilling the love within the male, the young male. I think that by a father showing his son love, he will be able to like know what love is and be able to transition that love into a relationship with somebody else. So it stuff has been changing. It's just like it needs to be more on a broader scale. You know what I'm saying? So definitely like I've seen like a big uptick in the way how fathers are dealing with their son, and that is definitely changing the way how love is being.
Let me
Also,
just let me.
go ahead, Louis. Go ahead.
Sorry, just really quick. Just to add to Lucy and this, my son came to me the other day. He's like, Daddy, Daddy. He's like, I was in school, and guess so I'm probably a female friend, and he was like, Daddy, yeah, listen, I had a friend, she was standing up, and I was eating. I was like, I got up and I was like, hey, go ahead, you could have my seat. I was like, I said, Trey, that's perfect. That's what you're supposed to do. You're a gentleman, so that's what you're supposed to do. So is that type of teaching like what Lucian's talking about from a young age, instilling that, and then from a young age, which will raise them to be the men of the future that they
Exactly.
need to be,
True.
Same thing Ori was talking about too.
Yeah.
I also want to add, as parents, I mean, things are done, things happen, right? We made mistakes. We're human. We're not without mistakes. When me and my kids talk, I don't let them know straight up. Well, you know what? Yeah, we're responsible for these kind of things that we're seeing today within the kids. I own up to my stuff with my kids. Yeah, I didn't know no better. We did this. We didn't teach our by setting the best examples. I do say these things to my kids, and I'm saying this to say, you asked how do we change the situation? We can only change the situation by starting now with ourselves.
It's easier to raise. What was Frederick Douglass saying? It's easier to raise strong men than to. I can't remember what the phrase is, but pretty much stating that if you start with the youth, it's easier for us to guide them than to try to change like an older person's stance and stuff.
True.
You know.
True. And I
So
also think it's because people, different members would talk about, yeah, it's about the relationship, yeah, it's about the family, but it is also about the community. And it's like, I know one of the things that I've been trying to do is like, definitely support, minority businesses. It's just things like that. So it's, sometimes people think it's just the small little things at home with your family. I mean, I talked to one of my godsons. I'm really close to him, and even the way he's with his daughter, I am so proud of him. My son as well with my grandson, his father. I remember it was so funny. I tell everybody this story that when he was about, I guess he must have been a little over a year, and he was doing something, and his father was like getting ready to fuss with him. And I'm like, do you realize that he has only been on this planet for 400 or something days? Like, that's it? And he was like, wow, like I didn't even see it in that perspective. I'm like, you're expecting something from to say he's 1 or 1.5, but to put it in days, it was a different narrative than he had ever heard. And so, and I was proud that he actually like acknowledged that. But what I'm saying is that it's not just what we do in our families and what we do in our relationship. It is also what we do in our communities, helping community organizations that are helping minorities, changing, if you work in the Senate, you work in government, people walk in, I experience this at home. You walk in the door of somebody, you say good morning, but it's sort of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you don't say it, you get looked at. But if you say it, but we have to start to change and just be more respectful for each other, because I think it's a broader thing. You can only change the things that you can change, and encourage others to do the same as well.
Oh, this is a saying. Thank you, Mr. Moorhead. It is easier to raise strong children than to fix broken men.
True.
Yeah.
That is so true. That is definitely.
Oh,
Let me see. Somebody had said something.
Indeed, Mr. Moorhead.
Nora had said black love is the ability to change all that is sour into a delicacy.
Say that again.
Nora, she said black love is the ability to change all that is sour into a delicacy.
We actually, yes, we have the power to do that.
Yeah.
but you know what, too?
Go ahead.
Let me piggyback on what you were saying too, Debbie, earlier. I think the thing about it is changing our image towards ourselves, or the way how we think of ourselves. When we look in the mirror, we want to have like, okay, I believe in myself, I believe in my community, and when I see myself, I want to bestow like the best image of myself to others. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So I think that once you can start to like envision that and start to implement that into most of these people and just stop them from thinking that they're not good as they are. Everybody wants to go change up who they are because lighten their skin, straighten out their hair. And I'm just like, love who you are, man. And it's hard because of, when you're fighting against all of the negative stereotypes. I mean, you can imagine growing up. I mean, yeah, I can because I'm black. You have all this, you only seeing drug dealers, you only seeing hustlers, you only seeing rappers are the only people who you like look up to and say like they're doing something. I think we in the Caribbean have been fortunate to grow up and see black people like in positive, strong positions. Our counterparts in the States weren't as fortunate, you know what I'm saying? But it's definitely something that makes a difference, especially in the community.
I read a book years ago called The Conspiracy to Destroy Young Black Boys. I read that, I think, in my early years of college, probably my freshman year of college. And that's what the book was actually saying. And the book had brought my awareness to the fact that what your children see every single day in their communities will affect who they become as adults.
That's correct, Trina.
And it was a little book, and it wasn't a popular writer, but I remember that book, and I always say it is I don't know if you could ever find a conspiracy to destroy Black boys, the community, seeing the drug dealers and the drug addicts and the alcoholics and the canna. These kids don't know anything different, and so that's why they become the same things
that they see. Exactly. Sutuma had written, Black love can also refer to us embracing and loving our Black selves, from our complexion to our hair, lips, and hips. And it's true. We're so diverse, and we just really have to learn to love. We can't expect others to love us if we don't love ourselves.
But it's the younger generation that I'm so proud of. The younger generation is, because when we were growing up, and I gonna admit it, because I have the lips and the butt and all that. We were not embracing those things when we were younger. It was not embraced. But now the younger generation that I appreciate so much that rise up and they're like the butt, the thickness, this is a part of who we are. And they embrace it now. But
There's a
when we
little
were growing up,
feedback.
they wanted us to
But
look like Whitney Houston. And I couldn't look like Whitney Houston if I had starved myself to death. I couldn't do it. I would have died and I still would not look like Whitney Houston.
there's a little feedback I ain't
Yeah,
hearing
there
that. Like,
is. It's been going on for a while. But I don't know where it's
yeah.
coming from.
But the younger generation has rised up and they changed the narrative, and I am so happy for that. You know?
Well, they're changing it because the parents are like actually, as once again, using Louis as an example, they're showing the children the love that they need. Whereas, like, in our generations, yes, they did show us certain aspects of it, but we still go out there and be strong and be a man. You know what I'm saying? You
Right,
don't
right.
show
No,
no
I,
fear.
I agree with Lucia. We have all, like I said before, all the information is out there. A lot of the stuff that's being put out is negative. We need to take that and change it into positive thoughts of positive, doing positive things with the youth. We need to
Yeah.
change that, change how that looks.
Lorna, how long have you and Daryl been married?
For 36 years.
Congratulations.
What?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Right.
So, and Louis, you said your
Why?
parents have been married 56?
56.
Huh? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
As a matter of
Lorna,
fact,
how
we'll
long
be there in
was your
September.
parents married?
October gonna be 57.
My parents were married for what? 62 years. My dad
Wow.
just recently died in April.
wow.
Condolences.
So it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, mom, what you gonna do? You know what I mean? But she's hanging in there. I admire my parents. Like I said, it wasn't a perfect household, but to me it was perfect.
Right.
Because my dad catered to my mom, and it's like, hey, you want a husband like that caters to you. You watch your dad, what your dad do, and you want to choose that guy like your dad. You know what I mean? But sometimes, that guy don't have the same training your dad had.
Right.
And my brothers are the same.
He's not
So, it's like, hey, but if we can change the generation behind us, re-educate them, give them all the love, and steer them in the right direction, I think this is possible for us to get there. You know?
I believe so as well. I
Yeah.
believe so as well.
Mm.
Well, it's 9:20, but I don't want us to start getting on another conversation because I know the 10 minutes can come up. But I just kind of want to let everybody know that next week is going to be our 1 year that we have had Love and Enlightenment on this platform.
Okay.
And so next week we kind of want to maybe revisit some of our guests, our shows that we had. We would like for everybody to come that night with their special drink. It doesn't have to be alcoholic. Host us into year 2. And to just talk about what a group or a platform such as this has meant to anybody, if they've learned anything, gleaned anything, changed their perspective. Because again, like I say all the time, this is about us just having a conversation, because sometimes you're around the same people, so you kind of saying the same things and hearing the same things, and when you hear somebody else's perspective, you're like, wow, I never saw it that way, and it helps us to make changes within how we show up in this world. So yes, join us next week, where we'll be celebrating our 1 year anniversary of Love and Enlightenment. And again, I want to thank everybody who has been participating, posting, commenting. This week we had a lot going on. And some real controversial topics. But again, it gives us the chance to see different people's perspective, and especially the men, because a lot of times with these kind of platforms, it's a bunch of women talking. So it's really nice when we can have the men join us and give their perspective. Is there anything else that anybody else wanted to touch on?
No, we didn't touch on Lucian's favorite topic. I had the statistics ready for you. It's 1 man to 13 woman because of because of the death and the imprisonment.
Where
I
is
was like,
this?
1 to 13. Boy, Lucian would love that number.
Where is this? Is this a national number, or is it anywhere specific to any region, or just
That's the number. It's one man to 13 woman because
nationally?
of
Okay.
black African Americans because of being in jail, death, blah blah blah. 1 in 13, Lucian. What you gonna do with that? Throw a party, eh?
Me ain't trying no party. I'm behaving myself.
So
Very good.
Pinky, you
He's
purposefully
like,
didn't
no.
talk about that?
What'd you say, Daryl?
You purposefully didn't talk about that one?
I didn't get to it. I didn't get to it. What you want to talk about? Oh God, Darren gonna want to talk about that one. Yeah, Darren gonna want to talk about that one.
Next time.
Well, I
It's a
definitely
fact.
want to thank the two of you all for joining us, and I want to thank you, Ori. We always love the younger male perspective as well, because it is your generation and the ones behind.
There's a lot of stuff that I
For
can't
sure.
say though. That's the harsh part.
You
Like,
can't.
like,
You can't.
That's why we have our back
And then,
conversations so that we can be a little bit more free. But we just try
I
to
put you in a box, Ori. You will
what
not.
you can't say it, or you can and then
He could say that. That's why I waited. I
No.
want to know what you can't say. He could say.
No.
you want to know what the funny part
No.
is? I say it to them. I don't know why I can't say it to everybody else. I don't
Yeah,
want to say
I
it.
mean,
It's them.
speak your mind.
The way I talk, I don't change it up for anybody until just now.
Well, I appreciate that.
okay, and then
Don't worry, Ori. Don't worry, Ori. They'll tell me the same thing.
You know,
I got
this is
filter.
in our family, Daryl is Muslim, his brother is a Rastafarian, me and my uncle is Christian. We don't get together. Deidre is Christian, Keith is great. We don't get together for anything. We get together. Christmas, I don't care. Funeral, wedding, I don't care what we get together for. These is the discussions we just sit down and have. Big argument with brother R, my mother. What do you used to call mommy? Auntie M or something? I don't know. You used to call her Daryl?
Sister S or something like that. What is it?
Sister M or something like that. But these are the discussions that we had all the time. I don't care what we get together.
And
We just talk about the issue.
She was the cause we out.
Every time we get on the radio, she used to call, and she used to call poor Junior too, brother R. But
You didn't even have to get on the radio sometimes.
But again, these are good conversations to have, whether they're heated fellowship or not, because you can't make changes, you can't learn if you're not having the conversation. Right?
but it's still love. It's just dealing with the issues.
Exactly. But again, everybody come with your drink. We know what Pinky gonna be coming with.
Yeah,
what
cool.
Robert,
I
let me put
switching
out
it
there.
up. I'm not coming with
Let me tell you,
coquito.
Robert put on there, coquito is all season long. So,
Yeah.
I was gonna get some water. She drink.
well,
Auntie.
you can
I
have
don't behave well when I drink.
yeah, you can have non-alcoholic coquito.
I don't like non-alcoholic drinks.
You hear? I was trying to save you. You hear?
I'm
what?
gonna save the
I was
comment
trying
for
to
the
save
bathroom.
you.
I don't drink non-alcoholic drinks, but I don't behave well when I drink either.
Lord.
Only when you drink. Anyway, so yeah, Debbie.
Nora said, Lucian, your dog has something to say. But anyhow, I want to thank everybody. I wish everybody well. Please, please, please be safe as we continue on this new world we're living in. And definitely come back next week, Thursday at 8 o'clock to join us in the festivities. And continue to comment and post. We really, really appreciate that.
Marcelino said Daryl and Junior I don't eat pork.
Happened?
Marcelino brother Ventura said Daryl and Junior I don't eat pork. Stop. He making trouble.
So anyway, so we want to definitely thank Lorna and Daryl Miller for coming on. We appreciate your time. Thanks for coming
Yes, and
on.
I have to come
Ori,
back, please.
Ori, thanks for coming on again too. I appreciate that. Of course, Debbie, Lucian, and Pinky. I was wonderful. Want to take this opportunity to wish everyone good things, great things, beautiful things.
Thank you, Lorna. Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you
I have
guys
to
for
come
having
back.
us.
Thank you for having
All
us.
right, you have a beautiful night.
Have a
All
good night,
righty,
folks.
and be
Good
safe.
night.
All right, and be
Good
safe.
See you
night.
the next time on the show.
All right. Okay, love. Bye bye.
Okay,
Thank you, love. Love you guys.